Judges 17 to 21, some of the toughest reading in all of the Bible. There are two basic stories that happen in our reading. They serve as kind of an appendix to the book as a whole. In fact, they took place probably earlier in the book. The first story, chapters 17 and 18, deal with that tribe of Dan. We remember that's where Samson came from. They were given this territory out here by the coast, but because of the strength of the Philistines, they were afraid to take this area. So they sent spies way up north, 100 miles off the map up north, to the well-fortified or the well-situated, not fortified, but the situated city of Laish, situated well because of water. One of the head springs of the Jordan River is way up there in Laish, and they conquered that city. They renamed it Dan. And so we speak of the full top to bottom of Israel from Dan to Beersheba because the tribe of Dan moved, as it were. Along the way, and this is a very weird story to put it mildly, they stopped near Shiloh and hired a priest, a personal priest for their own tribe. What's odd about this priest is he had his own household shrine, he had numerous idols, he had made a very expensive image to worship, and he even had an ephod that he had made. All to say that the Levitical train, as I have said, has fallen off the tracks completely. And what we have going on here in the story of Judges is a people who have given up on their worship of Yahweh, and they're doing their own thing, clearly. The second story in Judges, finishing it up in chapters 20 and 21, takes place along the central ridge route. But it's one route, yet 4 tribal jurisdictions. If I can be very general in my lines, the city of Bethlehem was in the tribe of Judah, belonged to the tribe of Judah. Nobody controlled an area where Jebus or Jerusalem was. The city of Gibeah was controlled by the Benjaminites, and the city of Shechem was part of Ephraim. So here's how it worked: Judah, Canaanites, Benjamin, and Ephraim. Now that sets up this story, because what happens is an Ephraimite, probably living near Shiloh, goes down to Bethlehem to get a concubine that had left him to go home. And again, a concubine was just ripe for mistreatment, because she was a secondary wife, considered a secondary wife, probably had no dowry. And so he forces her, or picks her up, as it were, from her home, her father's home, and says, "Come with me." Well, they travel, and as they head north, they think of stopping in Jebus for the night, because it's getting late. But that's controlled again by the Canaanites, unfriendly territory. No Israelites are really controlling this area yet. So they move up about 4 miles only, up to the city of Gibeah. Well, that's where things turn very sour. They aren't given room. Perverted people, it says, from the city of Gibeah want to abuse the men. In the story, they give these perverted men the concubine. The concubine is killed. She's dismembered by this man and sent throughout all the land of Israel. Again, a terrible story. Trying to cause a rally cry to foment among the Israelites about the men of Gibeah, these terrible men. Well, the point is, in full, is that the tribes of Israel gang up against the tribe of Benjamin, and you basically have a civil war. And this civil war, coming from all directions, almost wipes out the entire tribe of Benjamin. There's only 600 men left. They realize, as the book of Judges ends, they realize that, as much as we are distasteful of what happened with this whole story, and we're mad at Benjamin, we don't want to lose a tribe. And so they get 400 women from way up in Jabesh Gilead, that's off the map, there to the northeast. And they bring these 400 women down so that these men have wives. It's probably, again, where Saul comes from, one of those marriages, and even the Apostle Paul later. Benjamin is a very important tribe in the history of Israel. And at the end of Judges, it's almost wiped out. Well, what do we say about the story of Judges as it closes? And again, congratulations for finishing the book. Well, loyalty, faith, how is that going? The one thing God wanted, right, from his people, the one thing he's not getting. They have completely left the worship of Yahweh, I would say, within this book. And secondly, how is tribalism going? How is it going living as disparate tribes? Well, terribly, of course, and it will not be long before we have a call for a king.